Like, man, the band is back together. How you been?
Good, dude. How about you?
Been doing well, busy, as I'm sure you are also. Yeah, life happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've been MIA for a little, huh?
Yeah, today was perfect. I had so with the new company policies we have, we used to be able to like bank some of our uh, PTO,
Yeah.
and they changed that, so now it has to be used, and I have a ton that I try. I'll usually like roll some over, then I'll get paid out on some, and it's a win-win. But now it's like to the point where I just have a bunch stacking up that I have to use, and my son was home sick today. I just got back from a work trip, so my wife's been handling, holding down the fort. So I was like, don't even worry about it. I'll just take care of it.
Yeah.
I was like, let me hit up Tommy. Maybe he's got some time. We could jump on a podcast, get something going.
Hell yeah. Perfect, dude.
Yeah. So what's new with you? How's the coaching thing going? Still going strong?
Coaching's good. Everything's good there. Just prepping along. I'm 7 weeks out now. So,
Those photos
um,
look solid.
yeah, it's coming together slowly but surely.
Hmm.
It hasn't really been that hard yet. So that's good. Not doing any cardio yet.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, you guys got a lot of levers to pull then.
Yeah, yeah, plenty of cards that we can still play and um yeah, I mean, obviously I'm hungry and tired, but like it's not that bad yet. It really isn't. So,
Love it. I love it. So 7 weeks, and then you got a bunch of clients. Well, let's do this. Let's jump in. Because I think this whole episode will probably just be us catching up. I got some things I want to run by you that I'm sure
mhm.
we can spin off for a few minutes, if not even, move on to a whole nother episode. But um, yeah, we'll jump into it and then we'll keep this rolling. So all right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Bar. I am your host, Devon Grogans, here with co-host Tommy John, the one and only. This is the podcast where we go beyond the X's and O's, beyond being on the stage, and just talk about life as it pertains to bodybuilding, both in and out of prep, being in season, off season, whatever it is. So we try to stay away from, the gear talk, although, it gets intertwined. But the biggest thing that we're really here to talk about is just everything that happens outside of the stage as it pertains to the stage. We are not doctors. Neither one of us stayed at a Holiday Inn, and we are not here to give you medical advice. So do not take it for that. We're just here to have fun. We're just two guys that enjoy what we do and answer questions as best as we can to our own abilities. So that being said, let's jump in. So Tommy's 7 weeks out. Um, what's how's food looking right now? Still pretty high, pretty low? Where
It's
you got
low. Yeah,
low?
yeah, it's low. It's
So
low.
so
The
food's
hot
low, but you're still not doing any cardio, which is good.
No cardio. I'd rather have it that way. You can take
Yeah.
all my food away, you know. I'll be fine.
Well, and especially are you using Reta?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that probably helps out a ton.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm using right now 3 milligrams a week. That just went up.
Okay.
I was at half a milligram every other day. So whatever that is, like 1.75 or whatever. Um, so we just bumped it to 3 milligrams. And it really wasn't for an appetite thing. It
Mhm.
was just to keep things rolling, you know. Um,
And for
but
those that don't know, so retatrutide is it's a triple antagonist. So it not only helps transport fat, it helps reduce insulin, and then what is the third one?
the liver glycogen.
Liver glycogen. That's right.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So and it does have health benefits, you know,
Oh yeah.
such as keeping cholesterol at bay and keeping liver inflammation down and even has, you know, cognitive benefits and um, digestive benefits, hit or miss. Some people will actually get worse digestion on it from the slowing motility, right?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, and this is something I actually wanted to spend a little bit of time on.
Hmm.
Um, So the last video I put out, I was talking about how I was dropping down to 3 meals a week. I was going through kind of like I would say a maintenance, not really a recomp, a little bit in there, but mainly maintenance. Like it kind of just came back off of everything, pulled calories down. I was holding steady around 225, re-implemented cardio just to bring everybody back up to speed. Really only 25 minutes a day, 2 sessions of 35 minutes at most. But I'm getting ready to start a push. And in doing so, I've just found digestive wise, 3 meals works really well. I basically just paired meal one and two together. So it's the
Yeah.
same amount of calories. I'm just consolidating into three larger meals rather than split into five or six. Um, it's been working really well. I love it. Digestion's been good. Fast forward, we're starting the push. I just introduced Reta last week, first time.
Yeah.
1 milligram.
Did you use my discount code?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
And where can they find that?
It's in my Instagram profile. I don't know if we can put the website out there, can we?
Oh, I think we can. Well, I'll add it to the show notes.
Yeah,
But
it's our
100%.
our website is pretty controlled anyways. So it is Omega Amino. My discount code's Tommy. So I'll put it out there, and if we have to edit it out, we can. But yeah, so Nick Walker's actually one of our sponsored athletes. So
Yeah.
um, exciting to, we're going to be at the Olympia. We got our own booth and everything. So it's going to be a ton of fun. But yeah, what were you saying about
Yeah.
your effect from it?
Yeah, so absolutely. Use your code as I send all of my clients to when it comes to that sort of stuff. But I started at 1 milligram. This was last Friday.
Yeah.
Everything was fine. Immediately noticed for me, I'm somebody that whether I am bulking, whether I'm cutting, my appetite is high. I always have to pull back. And the first thing I noticed was the food noise was gone. Like
Hmm.
I didn't care to eat. I've gotten good at minimizing it on my own, but it
Yeah.
was nice to just kind of almost have to remind myself like, oh, I need to eat. And it also took away the want for anything outside of my diet, which I'm I'm good at staying on track, but it's another level when you legitimately don't even feel attracted to foods
Nothing.
outside of like you just want food. You want to be satiated and move on. So I loved it
Yeah.
for that. Fast forward. Now, I don't know if this is a Reddit thing. I actually just posted in, I think it was the Think Big, to see if anybody else has had issues like this. Legitimately think I got food poisoning. A friend of mine thinks that it was the GLP, but we'll see. I'll get your opinion. I did 1 milligram all in one dose. That was Friday. Everything was good. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, headed out of town. Monday was good. Tuesday night, I woke up with the worst stomach pains in my entire life. Really bad sulfur burps, which is what led him to believe it was the Retta. But there was zero onset. It was like everything was fine. And then 11 p.m., I woke up with just like this gut wrenching, like felt like somebody was twisting a knife into my stomach, on and off the toilet for pretty much from 11 until 3:30 a.m. to the point where it was just water. Um,
When did you take your last dose? Because this was like 2, 3 days later.
Yeah, I took it Friday. This was
No.
Tuesday. And that's what I
Yeah.
thought. Because there was zero, it wasn't like, oh, I feel kind of weird. Oh, I feel kind of weird. Like,
No,
oh,
no.
there was zero. Yeah.
And like for the most part, in my experience at least, I've never had anyone get like loose diarrhea, like
Yeah.
just like pissing out their ass. I've never had people get that from it. And 1 milligram is also a very low dose
Yeah.
compared to the trials and the
Right.
FDA trials. Um, but there can be some cramping. Some people will get some like cramping in their stomach.
Hmm.
So there is some of that, but that's in the higher doses.
Yeah.
Typically, when I see things get above 4 to 5 to 6, I've never, none of my clients have used over 6 or 7.
Okay.
And a lot of them were already on that when they came to me. That's not what I put them on. Because You can really get a lot out of a very little bit of that
Yeah,
stuff.
and I'm
Yeah.
somebody that has always been I guess you could say hyper responder. I don't you can give
You
me
do
the
respond
minimum of
well. Yeah.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can give me the minimum of something and I will get the most out of it. My
Hmm.
my wife gave me what was it? It was like Robitussin or something like that, like PM, and it was whatever the standard dosage is. I slept for like 12 hours. Um,
That's awesome. I'm
yeah.
so jealous of
Yeah.
that.
So I'm somebody where it's like, and I'm very prone to high side effects when pushing higher,
It makes sense.
if not
Yeah.
regular, right? Because it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I figured I'll start with one, but again, there was zero onset. So that's why I think it was food poisoning. This was just it was the it was a great work experience. I had to go for a conference, but it was the worst trip that I had ever had.
Mm. Yeah.
I went to Austin, Texas. Me and a buddy that I met up with, I think he hit you up, Vince.
Yeah.
Um, he met me up. We went to Lift FTX, phenomenal gym. But I'm not built for that. Like trying to train in 90 degree weather with 90% humidity outside, basically, my lungs were fried before my
No.
before my muscles were. But that's the thing is like everything was fine, and then it just woke, and it was like a 2 day thing, and now I'm fine. And so I figured
I
it was food poisoning.
I
Um,
wonder if it was dehydration,
and that was my other thought too, which I stay very hydrated, but
but maybe you were hyponatremic, you lost your
yeah, I was gonna say,
electrolytes.
and
Yeah.
I sweated so like my
Hmm.
shirt, you could have wrung my shirt out. It
Yeah.
was so wet.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing. So cool. I wanted to run that by you. I was actually really excited to jump on today to talk to you about that because again, there was zero onset symptoms. I took it Friday. Everything was going just as it was. I was like, cool. Appetite is more than manageable. Everything else is great. And
And
then just all of a
you've been
sudden,
using it for how long?
last Friday was my first dose. I just took my second dose, which I'm going to, just for safe measure, I did zero point 0.5, then I'm
Yeah.
going to take the other zero point 0.5 in about 3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
Uh, but I chalked it up as food poisoning. He was arguing or dehydration. I didn't even think about that. And he was saying that because of the sulfur burps, he thought it was Reta, but
Does he use Retta?
he has, but
Did he have a bad experience with it?
he did,
Okay, so
right?
I don't mean to point fingers,
Yeah.
but come on.
Yeah,
Um,
well, and that's why I was like, I wanted to get a set because I know you've used it for a while. You use it
yeah,
with your clients, so I'm like, if anybody has, firsthand experience and anything that you would have seen like this before, it would be you.
and trust me when I say this, I was the last guy to hop on board
Same,
because
same. I pushed it off for a long time.
I was too hardcore. I was too, oh, you should be able to diet without it. And I do think you should be able to diet without it. I think you should get the needle moving before you introduce anything like that. I
Yep.
think you should learn to embrace the suck of the diet. And, but at the same time, bodybuilding does not have to equal suffering.
Yeah.
And there's health benefits to it. You know what I mean? And it's, we can argue that it can counter some of the negative side effects of the other things we may or may not be using, right? So if you're taking something, everyone wants to take Tell Me Sartan, right?
Hmm.
Everyone wants to take that. And then all of a sudden people want to boo-hoo on Retta. And it's like, guys, where do we draw this line?
Yep.
Like you're gonna blast a compound that may have been designed for bulking cattle and not think twice about it. And you're gonna run it at, 10 times what a cow or a heifer runs it at, and
Hmm.
you're not gonna think twice about it. But as soon as someone mentions an obesity drug, oh no, I'm a bodybuilder, I don't need anything like that. It's like, oh, just calm down.
Well,
There's no rules in bodybuilding. That's why I love it.
exactly. And so I've been contemplating utilizing something like this for quite some time because I actually
Mhm.
got sent a bottle of Ramona Bant, like 2 years ago.
Hmm.
And before I take anything, I always do my due diligence. And so I
Yeah.
looked into it, and the side effects heavily, heavily outweighed the benefits. it was like, it was, well, first of all, it was pulled because there were so many issues of suicidal thoughts, suicidal
Mm.
tendencies. And as soon as like depression, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, nope, I'm good. So it's been like I should have just tossed it, but it went in the pile with everything else. So it's just been sitting there. But then,
It's in that drawer that we all
yeah.
have.
So it's
Yeah.
sitting right next to the
Next
oh
to the D ball and whatever.
the what is the vaso? It's the super strong vasodilator that a lot of
Oh
people
yeah,
are taking.
AMP.
Pretty much, yeah. So I
Yeah,
ran
it's
that.
the vasodilator. What did they call it?
Oh
It
my
will
God.
come vas what it will come to me. It will come
Yeah.
to me.
So I have two bottles of that because I ran one when I first started with Skip. He had recommended it, and we're like, all right, we'll give it a try. I passed out twice because it dumped my blood pressure right
I
before
almost
going on the
died
show.
from that.
And so he and so he goes, legitimately, like maybe 1 in 100. And this was like our first show together. I go, Skip, I'm gonna tell you right now, and I probably should have told you before. If there's ever a one in anything, I'm that one. Like every time, every time I'm that one. So that went in the drawer too. But no, it really came down to like, okay, what is the next best thing I can do that can increase insulin without having to go that full route? Increase mark, like it was a no-brainer. And so
Yeah.
it's something that now I'm now 2 weeks in, love it. Just started this push phase, calories are going up, so I'm really, really curious to see what it does for me during these next 12 to 14 weeks.
And put bodybuilding aside, you know, some of the number one ways to wreak havoc on your health is becoming insulin resistant,
Hmm.
right? There's not, there's a few things outside of that that are worse, but that's up there.
Yeah,
That's up there because with insulin resistance comes systemic inflammation like high HSCRP and all of these other things that are just wreaking havoc on your body. And what if we can lower those?
yeah,
Like, I don't know. I don't, like I said, bodybuilders are so weird where they choose to draw the line. And um, I have very little lines. That's all I'm gonna say
yeah,
for myself.
right.
And here's the other thing, Devin. If you don't get on board with these things, you get left behind. If you know nothing about them, if you don't know how to implement them for safely for people that want to use them, you get left behind. So if you want to be stuck in your ways and not learn about, at least learn about the stuff.
Right, which I do. Yep.
If you're not going to take it yourself, or if you're not going to learn about it, you're going to get left behind by people that do want to use it. And I'm not a guy that likes to get left behind, you know, so I need to know what's out there, if it's worth it, if it's hype, can we do it safely? And have I used it myself? And
Mm.
it's very rare that I'm ever going to advise something that I've never tried myself. When I say very rare, I've never advised anything I haven't used myself.
Yeah.
I
And
just,
I'm the same way. I've told people too, if they're adamant in using something I have not used, I'm very upfront. I'll say this is what I do know about it. I don't have firsthand experience. I have access to people far smarter than me that have. So if this is the route you want to go, we can go this way and I will help to my best ability. But just understand like this is not my wheelhouse uh supplement or whatever it may be.
yeah,
Very, very upfront with people on that. I'll never tell somebody, oh, do this, and I've never used it or know anything about it.
yeah, no, exactly. And you know, that's just being responsible on our end. Um, but yeah, there's a few sides of the industry that they still hate it and they think it's, you know, awful. And um, you, like I said before, you need to know how to diet without it.
I had a
You,
client the other day just he's like, "Hey, tell me about these GLPs." And I said, "Right now, you don't need to know anything about them." He's
yeah,
he's down 60 pounds, and I said, "Let's get you lean without it first because I want you to understand what it's like to be able to go through this. And then if we decide that we want to switch gears and implement something like that, we can. But you're new to the gym, you're new to diet, you're new to everything. So let's just get that so it's not always a codependency on all of these other things."
yeah, you just you take the steps, and you have more tools in your toolbox. You have more cards to play, just like we were talking about with my prep. I haven't
Yep.
done any cardio yet. I'm 7 weeks out. Will I do any cardio? I don't know. But if I have to, it's there and it's
Yeah.
gonna be very responsive because
I was
I haven't
just gonna
done,
say that.
I haven't done any. So my body's gonna be like, oh, what's this? All right.
Mhm.
It'll take your
Well,
fat
and
away.
even yeah, even me pulling cardio for 2 months and then reintroducing it at 20, 25 minutes,
Yeah.
it's like I was able to increase food and just by adding 20 minutes of cardio 5 days a week, see body composition changes and no change in weight.
So here's one fun thing, while you're talking about this, it reminded me of something I've been doing for clients. And I learned it from AJ actually, and it's incredibly effective. And I won't get into the nitty-gritty logistics of it because, people pay me for that and stuff like
Right.
that. But so there's the concept of mini cuts in
Hmm.
and stuff like that. AJ and I don't believe in those. And I won't speak for him in full verbatim confidence, but from what I understand from AJ, he is not a fan. Again, I'm speaking for him. I hate doing that. From my understanding, I don't believe he's a fan of mini cuts.
Hmm.
Here's the reasoning that was explained to me. If you need a mini cut, you just did it wrong to begin with.
Yep.
And two, people do these 4, 8, 12 week mini cuts, and they still end up like 1 pound heavier on stage the next year. So
Yep.
it's like, what was the point of wasting that 12 weeks? So what I've been doing for clients, and it's insane. It works incredibly well. And it's typically a 10, 14-day period. And what I do is, let's say someone is starting to get a little insulin resistant, a little bit run down, just they're starting to feel that peak off
Yep.
season a little. Let's just put it that way. Um, so what I do is essentially leave their caloric intake almost exactly where it is. It might come down a little bit, and I pull protein really, really low, like really low. Like
Right.
some of my 200-pound plus guys are eating 100, 150 grams of protein a day. Um, Fruits go very high,
Hmm.
specifically fruits that are going to help mitochondrial health
Right.
and heavy in antioxidants, things like that. Um, Carbs are moderate to low.
Hmm.
Fats are leaning into essential, a bit higher than they
Right.
would be, right? And, the diet is pretty much standard, linear, no, not real cyclic, nothing like that. Um,
Same days training as non-training,
yeah,
essentially.
pretty much here's 5 round
Yeah.
meals, and
Yep.
they're going to be the same for the next 14 days. And then we lean into things like MOTS-C
Right.
and SLU and BPC and some of these things that can help mitochondrial health, MOTS-C being a big one, right? And we
Hmm.
lean into some of these for that time period, sometimes at heavier doses, right? And then we lead into the health supplements that are going to help the mitochondrial health too. And really, we just focus the next 10, 14 days of like just making the body incredibly less inflamed. And I hate all these terms and words, but
Right.
it works. It works. I feel like a nerd even saying the shit, but it works so incredibly well. And, let's say you pull back on the gear even a little bit, right? Even if it's 14 days, I don't care. Pull it back a little bit. And, these guys right away, Devin, within 2, 3 days, I keep hearing, I feel excellent.
Oh, I bet.
I feel so good. My
And it's
workouts are
so
awesome. Yeah, and like I've had some guys run it for 3, 4 weeks,
I was
and
just gonna say it's
they're
so funny you say that because that's essentially when I ran like my maintenance phase, all I did was pull my calories down about 400, 500.
mhm.
The first thing I did drop was protein. Carbs stayed relatively the same. And again, I went from more of a cyclical approach to just a standardized like 200 grams of carbs a day.
Yep.
Protein came down from like 280 down to about 200. Again, fats were, I really only changed my fats plus or minus like 10, but I put them right to where they needed to be. And then, yeah, it was just pull the inflammation off. And within probably 2 weeks, I was down 10 or 12 pounds.
Yeah.
Strength was still increasing. Everything in
Hmm.
the gym was great, felt great, sleep was great. I pulled back cardio. Um, yeah, I mean, I kind of stumbled into, and not nearly to the degree of what you're
It's the
explaining,
same thing though.
but
It's the
but
same
yeah,
thing. Yeah. And we'll even pull back on bad habits at that time,
yep.
right? We'll try to pull back on caffeine. Heavy cannabis users will try to pull back on cannabis a little bit as long as they can still sleep okay and everything.
Mhm.
Some guys have PTSD and things like that, trauma where, they use cannabis as medicine, so that's understanding. But sometimes we'll pull back on that stuff a little bit and really just, again, another word I hate, but we kind of detox the body and just for a short time period. And the dividends are crazy. The results that I've seen just from such minor, what seems like minor changes, leaning into fruits, which, bodybuilders tend to not eat for whatever reason. We know why they don't, because if you can only fit so much food in your
Hmm.
Tupperware, the fruit doesn't get put in there. The rice and the chicken does. It's like,
That's me with
uh,
veggies.
yeah,
Veggies on a
yeah.
pet, fill it up.
Y- y- y-
Veggies on a
y-
bulk. I got like 6 pieces of broccoli in there because it's the only amount of space left in the Tupperware.
Yeah, and then, the last thing I'll add to it is we start doing some lifestyle habit stuff. So, uh, red light therapy right upon waking,
Good one.
morning walks and contrast showers and or sauna, cold plunge, like um, all this little stuff that people roll their eyes at. And it's like, yeah, but have you ever tried it? Have you ever tried it like with someone running a program for you and you just follow it and now all of a sudden the shit we used to roll our eyes at, it's like, damn it, I was wrong about this and it's working. And that's how I felt about Retatrutide.
Yeah,
Once I took it, I'm like, oh, damn it. I wanted it to suck.
yeah.
I wanted to feel like garbage. I wanted to be nauseous all the time. And I took it peak off season where we were over 6,000 calories and I could still eat. And I'm
I
like,
know.
oh, I'm not, I
And
thought I'm not supposed to be able to eat.
yeah.
It's like a lot of the times at the end of the day, before people give their opinion on things, they need to actually try it and and see what it does for them anecdotally
Hmm.
and make a true assessment
Yep.
with your bias set aside, which is so hard to do. And then then you can at least say, hey, I tried this and it sucked,
Hmm.
right? I tried this and it absolutely sucked. I can say that in full honesty. So that's part of this whole process of learning all this stuff, right? A lot of people are quick to form opinions on things they've never actually tried, and
Or
we're
hearsay.
all guilty of that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we are all so guilty of that, and it's hard to admit, but happens.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a perfect segment that I was hoping to get covered, and I figured it would roll right into kind of what you've been doing, and everything else going on. Um,
And like to add to it, and I won't beat it to death, but we get scared to change what we think we have to do.
oh yeah.
I have to do bro splits. I have to use X, Y, and Z frequency, and the movements have to look like this. And I have to do this because so and so said I have to do this.
I'm
And
so far out of the box right now, and what would be like eating 4 meals, eating 4 meals a day. The timing is pretty much irrelevant to like I'm eating 2 hours before my workout. My post-workout meal just comes when when my next meal falls into line, which
Mhm.
is about 2 hours after. So I'm not eating immediately after anymore. it's just 3 to 4 square meals broken up in 4 to 5 hour increments. My training right now is almost laughable, but it makes sense.
Hmm.
It's upper body, shoulders, chest, back, and then I touch up legs. And it's like really the only reason for touching up legs is to not lose them. But for the division that I'm in, it's not a requirement. Now, it's not to say that I'm not going to completely forget about them,
No.
but when I'm pretty much already at my weight cap, there's only so much more I can change, and it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
So, the split in most people's eyes don't make sense, but it's the areas that my particular category is relying upon. So I'm
Yeah.
going to hammer the hell out of them. I just started doing it's I mean, it basically is like Neil Yoda Hill's Y3T training.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So it's cyclical in the approach of 1 week of, 6 to 8 rep range, 1 week of 10 to 12, 12 to 15, and
And
then
then a metabolic range, right?
oh man,
Yeah.
I wrapped I right before this call because I was like, well, since I'm home for the day, I can either go train now. I got to pick my other son up, so I'm like, I can try and fit it in, or I can just do it now. And I went down there. My chest is lit. It was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 working sets, 2 warm-up sets. All of the working sets were a drop set of 15 to 25 reps.
Yes.
Absolutely
So
annihilated.
do you remember a program? This was, man, this was maybe 2008. There was a program called Power Rep Range Shock.
Yes.
Do you remember that? It was by Eric something, Eric
Yeah,
Holmes, maybe? I don't
I
know.
think it was.
I had it on VHS. Let me
Oh,
just
really?
let me just tell you.
I never dove too far into that, but I do remember hearing about it.
So yeah, I'm like I said, I was very young when I did it, and um either way, it was the same concept. You would have a power week where reps are in the 5 to 8 range, and then you'd have a rep week.
Eric
Your
Rozier.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Does it have a year on there?
Let me see if I can find it.
See how old I really am.
Yeah, you pulled that out of the archives. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, I had a VHS tape of
I
it
think
too.
I remembered seeing that on what is it? Something T, the what
T
was
Nation.
T Nation. I remember
Yeah.
seeing it on there. This shows it going back about as far as 2012. It may be further.
Okay,
Oh, here we go.
that may be
Power
right.
Rep Brain Shock right here. PDF 2005.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't mean to date myself like that, but um either way, I ran that program phenomenal.
Hmm.
Phenomenal. And here's the thing, and I don't have to explain this to you because you already know, but I do have to explain it to some of my younger, newer guys and girls. What you're doing right now is good for right now.
Yep.
It doesn't mean you have to do it forever.
Nope.
Because we always find a workout where it's like, this shit is the one. This is the one. I
Hmm.
found it. I found the secret finally until you didn't.
Yep.
Until it changes or until you get bored. Then you got to pivot.
Yep.
And you got to
Oh,
pivot.
I ran a true like research for probably a good 6 to 8 months, and I probably have spoke about this before. But the first time I ran DC training,
I was
uh,
going to say, yep.
I think I grew off season 8 to 10 pounds of stage weight.
Hmm.
And then I remember coming back to that the next off season, it did nothing for me to
Hmm.
the degree that it had before. So I pivoted and I started doing more volumized training that
More
was very
volume.
similar to like FST7.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, started growing again.
And then all of a sudden you're doing a push-pull legs
Yep.
again, or you're
Or
doing
upper
a
lower split.
Jordan Peters style. It's
Hmm.
like, guys, they all work.
Yeah.
They all work. It's just like the biggest thing is just keep stacking up years of whatever it is. Um,
And you get better each time. Like the biggest thing I noticed doing the Y3T, because it's very heavily focused, not just on the rep range, but each rep range. So each week has a separate rep range, but each week also has
an
a different
intention.
a different intention in terms of iso, eccentric, and concentric
Yep.
time. So for week one, it might be a 2-1-3, 2 second eccentric, 1 second pause, 3 second or concentric, iso, eccentric. So it might be like a 2-1-3. And then week two, I think is like a 2-1-2 or something like 2-4, but they each vary. So it really is making me focus on not just moving the weight, but like you said, intentionality behind moving the weight. And that has struck an accord with me because there's times where I'll find myself just kind of moving and I'm like, no, 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 no. It needs to be one,
Hmm. And
two.
who did that best, in your opinion? Who wrote programs best that were out of the box, combining multiple different methodologies? He wrote many, many programs,
From my knowledge, I would have to say John Meadows.
nailed it. Nailed it. No one combined methodologies better than him.
Yeah.
No one thought outside of the box better than him.
And it's funny because I even wrote a program that I have a couple clients utilizing right now that I will move to when I'm done. That is a cyclical approach to the Y3T, but it blends FST7, um, a bit of DC training,
Yeah,
and
loaded stretches and all
yep,
sorts of fun stuff.
yeah.
And don't you love writing programs?
Oh, absolutely. Especially like I love writing those types of programs. Like it's always fun to do that, here's
Sure.
your standardized split. We're going to focus on these areas. These are the areas of growth. But like the client that's running this right now, he's a little bit older. So we needed something that was a true novel stimulus to him.
Hmm.
And so far his body has just been taking off. He's holding size, he's holding composition, and he's just getting stronger and bigger, and we're pushing more food, and it's awesome. He was like, we didn't change anything. Like I've been slowly increasing food, and it was always like I'm about a 6 out of 10, 6 out of 10. We're week 3 on this program. He's like, I don't know what happened, but I'm like an 8 out of 10. And on the days that I have my high rep range days, those weeks, I almost every single day I'm like a 10 out of 10 starving. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, we're moving.
I have a lot of my clients running the new Chris Edmonds stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
the Scorpion program and Sub-Zero, and he's got more coming out. Like Johnny Cage is coming out.
Awesome.
He's got all these, all these programs coming out. And here's the thing. Here's what's great about it. I know where Chris learned most of his stuff from, and it was John. I know Chris's intent when he trains, and he trains very hard. So when a client asks me, hey, what should I do? You should go buy this program because I know there's no way you can get through it without training hard.
Yep.
So as a coach, it's it's autopilot for me. It's there's no way if you do this program as it's written, as Chris wrote it, there's absolutely no way that I have to question if you're working hard or not.
And that begs, so that segues into a question that you just reminded me of
Hmm.
that I read about the other day that I would love to get your input. And I think this would be an amazing topic for us to cover. Somebody had said that, oh, I'm trying to remember how they worded it, but basically they said, when someone moves from coach to coach,
Hmm.
do you think that, and they get really good results. So they go from coach A, okay results, coach B, get phenomenal results.
Okay.
Do you feel, and I know there's really no right answer to this, but I just want to hear your input. Do you feel that it is because that coach is as good as he is, or do you feel it's because they are working with a new coach, they have a newfound relationship to want to follow the plan more intently, both in the gym and in food adherence?
You know what I think.
I know what you think, but I want to hear it.
Let me hear how you answered that question. And I'll tell you exactly what I think.
Okay. My thought is twofold. One, it comes down to obviously a bad coach is a bad coach. I've taken clients from bad coaches.
Hmm.
I've worked with coaches that were not the greatest, but I still gained a lot in learning what not to do. And it there were benefits in things that I learned how to do certain things. But moving to a new coach that had an approach that more fit me, um, it did, I can say I'm going to give 100% to the program regardless. So whether I'm working with coach A or coach B, all I know is what's on the paper. I'm going to follow that and it's either going to work or it's not going to work. So for somebody like me, I feel that it comes down to the structure of the coach in terms of how well we um,
How
see
well you jive.
yeah,
Yeah.
how well we view certain things collectively, and then also understanding when to pivot. I think that so many coaches, and I'm not just going to say that makes a good coach a coach, but it's one of, in my opinions, one of the things that will solidify a good coach is understanding when something is not working for a client and knowing when to make a change.
Mhm.
We can already just wipe out the fact that some coaches just suck. But if you go from a decent coach to another decent coach and you see better results, it's likely just the fact that you and that coach get along better and they have a better understanding of when to pivot when things are not working for you. That's my personal opinion.
I have so much to say about this that
I figured you would.
I'm trying to organize my brain and
It's hard, right?
it's
It's hard.
hard.
Like this is something we
Here
could easily spend a couple hours on.
Here's my initial response. You asking the question raw, dry, here it is, answer
Okay.
this question. Here's my initial response. Yes, it's just the excitement. It's just
Mhm.
the excitement of the new coach. It's sexy, it's shiny, it's a new program with new verbiage, new document. The document looks different. There's
Yep.
pictures in there. It's cute, it's fun, it's sexy, it's wonderful. Here's the thing. Do you remember the first date with your wife?
Yep, I know exactly where you're going with this because my analogy was going to be almost the same.
Okay, what was that like?
It was awesome. I
Mm,
mean, right? It's just like the first day of school. Clothes are laid out. You got your cologne picked out.
yeah.
It's not just a get up, I guess I'll wear this. You're putting thought and you're putting effort into it to make sure that it's the absolute best.
Did you, you know, walk away to the restroom to pass gas, right?
Well, our
Or
first date, I walked away to the restroom to throw up because I had intense food poisoning.
oh,
But
you told me that. But
but yes, you step aside, you are showing your best self in every possible way.
every possible way. And you and I are both two people that I can confidently say are quite obsessed with our partners.
Hmm.
We're very good to them. We hold them at very high value. We still try our best to make everything like that. But there are days where I don't open the car door for my wife.
Hmm.
There are days. There are days where my wife pumps her own gas. That never happened the first week, month of us
Hmm.
dating. And does that mean I got complacent or anything like that? No, someone's got to be in the car to watch the baby. Life changes, right? Or hey, we usually love going grocery shopping together, but hey, I got 55 check-ins I have to do. Are
Yep.
you cool to run to the grocery store? That shit would not happen on month one of dating. And again, that doesn't mean that I don't actively still put effort in to look good for her and be hygienic and respectful and polite and a gentleman, right? But it's not going to be with the same just absolute adherence, um, compliance that it was the first month of dating, right?
Hmm.
And it's a honeymoon phase, and it
Yep.
happens with coaches. And here's the problem. I don't know if it's a problem, but guys will get to a certain level where instead of sticking it out with the coach that they have,
Hmm.
they think they need to level up in their mind to go find that next coach that's going to bring them to that next level, that next tier. And I don't necessarily believe that's true.
Yeah.
Um, I,
Look at
I,
Nick Walker. He was with Jansen. And yeah, he did great. He did better than
Mhm,
he did before, but look at him now. He's not
mhm.
with, the quote unquote one of the best coaches in the league, regardless of whatever people feel. I
You
mean,
know what?
his record shows that he has done great work, but look at what he's been able to do working with who's he working with now? Dom Cardone or whoever it is.
No, Kyle Wilkes.
Kyle Wiltz. So
Yeah.
it's not one of the, considered elite coaches, and he's making, if not made, the best progress he has ever made in his entire career.
There's a weird phenomenon, and I don't know what it is, but I kind of do. I kind of get it. People obsess with the status of their coach
Hmm.
and how many followers does my coach have? And um, has he ever put anyone on the Olympia stage? And they obsess about these certain things. And yeah, your coach has to have a good track record. And of course, he's got to have a good resume and things like that. But, the terms like, well, who's that no name coach? It's like, I don't know. That person just won their overall.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares who their coach is?
Yeah. Well,
Who
I've gotten that
cares?
before. I've had,
Who the hell's Devon?
yeah,
Who
and I've gotten that.
it's just some local coach. It's like, I don't know. Devon has a lot of wins under his belt.
I've never had
It's
anybody out of the top five when there was more than five people placing on the stage. I've never had really anybody out of the top three when there was five or more in the competitors, other than two natural competitors who arguably were doing the show. It was one of those, I want to do it just to do it,
yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Um, and so you kind of got to work with what you're given. I can only push somebody as hard as they're willing to be pushed. But at the same time, I've also had people that have won overalls with me, went to quote unquote better coaches and didn't even place top five in a
Yeah.
lineup that I've had competitors place in that same lineup against them. And they arguably should have done better. So
So so so what is that? Like what is the I have theories about it. And sometimes I think, okay, maybe people go to these bigger name coaches to gain a larger name for themselves. Maybe they'll get shared on their coach's Instagram, who has 150,000 followers, who has 200,000 followers. Maybe some people are looking for that. Um, you know, maybe they feel more comfortable because the name is bigger. I don't know because I know a lot of big name big name coaches who are not good.
yeah,
They're really not good. And that's not just they're not good at response time and things like that. They're actually not good at what they do. They're not getting people in shape.
right.
People are unhappy with them. They leave them and come to you or I, the no-name coaches, and are much happier and get much better results. But, on the same token, they won't share a word about that bad experience with that big name coach because they're afraid.
Hmm.
They're afraid.
I really think that it is, I'm sure some of it is probably clout chasing for some. But I
Mhm.
think for a lot of people, it's the grass is greener approach. It's look at what they did. And I think it circles back to being able to really mesh with your coach well. Just because somebody is a big name coach doesn't mean that they're going to fit the style of communication or just overall relationship that is going to make you want to train harder, work harder, or whatever the case may be. But I truly think that the grass is greener where you water it. Prime example, I had a couple of people that work with Cuts. And for those that aren't in the men's physique arena, Cuts is placing probably, I think, 10 to 12 people on the Olympia stage this year in men's physique. He is hands down the
Mm.
best men's physique coach. Hands
Wow.
down. No way around it, no if, ands, or buts. The things he does, and he is a great coach and an amazing person. Every single person I've talked to that works with him has nothing but good things to say. He's a family person, so I can't say anything bad about him. But and this isn't a but in a bad way.
Hmm.
When I was getting ready to prep for Pittsburgh, I had a couple of people that were with Cuts say, "Hey, Cuts is now he's now at the point where he picks and chooses who he works with. He doesn't
Yeah,
take everybody.
understandable.
Yeah,
Yep.
he doesn't take everybody on." And I had a couple of people say, "Hey, he likes your work ethic. He thinks you have a great physique. He thinks he can really mold you into something. He knows he can essentially turn you pro. He would love to take you on as a coach." And I said, "Hey, that's amazing. I love it. It makes me feel great, but I'm gonna ride this out with Skip, my current, I'm gonna ride this out with my current coach until we no longer prove that we can get the results that are needed." And we've continued to do that. So I have no reason to leave.
Yeah.
Um, you could argue the point, well, look at what he's been able to do with so and so and so. Okay, you could, but I've also been in all of those same conversations, standing right next to a lot of the same people that have gone to him to this day. So it's one of those things where, to directly answer your question, I truly think in many cases, yes, it is important to level up from your coach. And I think you will get to a point with certain coaches where you will reach their ceiling. Um, but if you're making or having continued success with them, my personal opinion, I don't see why you would need to change from that.
Hmm.
But again,
So,
it begs the question, and does switching to a coach benefit because it's fresh and new, or because they really have some sort of magic? And I think there's no right answer to that. I think that it's a little bit of both. Working with the right coach that ultimately fits you, I think, is what it really boils down to at the end of the day.
um, so I didn't want to dive into this because I've never said it publicly, but I'm going to, okay? And because it's fitting. Um, People can view everything we just spoke about and be like, well, wait, Tommy left Skip to go work with AJ. Okay, fair, right? Um, my true reasoning, right? I needed something new.
And that's fine. And there is nothing wrong with that.
I needed to be challenged in a way that was unknown, and I needed the mystery. I needed the mystery. I'm just being honest. Um,
And a
Jo-
good coach will understand that when the client that left me, that we grabbed the overall, he hasn't placed as well. Not once did I think, nor did I say, "Oh, I hope he does." Obviously, I don't want him to beat my guys in any manner, whether he was a former client or not. I want my guys to do as best as they can.
Yeah.
But I never he was straight up with me, just said, "Hey, I'm gonna try something different. I feel like I need something new. I'm going this route." I respect that 100%.
Yeah,
Uh,
and man, it was the reason it was so hard for me is because I didn't have an answer.
right?
I didn't
I
I
don't think there
didn't
is
I
one.
didn't have a true answer of um it's not the case of AJ's better than Skip. That's not the case. They're both amazing.
Hmm.
They're both amazing. It was more there was this mystery that I had to figure out. It
And
was
I know exactly what you mean, because
mhm,
that is where I stand now when I look at, like, okay, if I did go the Cuts route, like, he turns physiques next level for men's physique. So that aura or allure of what it could be is a little bit, different. But I also, in the back of my head, not even in the back of my head, really in the forefront, I'm still making, having worked with Skip when I was, and for the time that I was progressing every single year.
yeah.
So it's not like there was stagnant in me not changing, or so for me, I felt I'm going to ride this until I no longer, just like we would have planned, right? It goes back to
Yep.
like the plans. You ride it out until it no longer fits what you are trying to achieve, and then you pivot. But for
Yep.
me, I was not at that pivot point yet. Uh,
Yeah. And it was more um I was progressing. Um, I was making good progress, and but the thing of it is that I started becoming complacent
yeah.
with the plan.
Yeah.
and the freedom of the plan and
Hmm.
the freedom of um you know I felt like with a macro plan, for example,
Right.
I felt like I don't know, I'm like maybe I'm missing something, um and that's all on me, right?
Yeah.
Just
And that's
about,
okay.
yeah, and a lot of it was because I was making I was making bodybuilding miserable for myself,
Hmm.
and it had nothing to do with him.
Nope.
I was making bodybuilding miserable for myself because I was eating rice and ground turkey, nothing else,
Yeah.
nothing else. And I was doing that for 5 years straight.
Hmm.
And I never asked him for suggestions, which I could have. Um, I just was like complacent and stuck in my own ways. And, I didn't really take any accountability until recently, where it's like, it was more so like, man, I wasn't doing my part anymore. And that's how I knew, okay, I need to start fresh. I need to start fresh. And it's not, like I said, it's nothing against him. Like, hey, age is going to take me to the next level. It wasn't like that. It's like, I
Exactly.
just need to love bodybuilding again.
Yeah.
I just needed to love bodybuilding again. And I was starting to hate it. And I'm like, I need a change. And, um, I talked to my wife about it. I'm like, I don't know what to do. But, it's hard when, because he's one of my best friends.
Oh yeah.
So it's like the other problem was like, I can't lose my coach and my friend. So I had to, you know, plan a delivery of that message. And there's no way you can deliver that message without causing some offense.
Right.
And it's worse when you don't have a true way to explain why you're leaving.
And that I was stuck in that from the coach's side of things when this last client that I was talking about kind of left, because we were friends, still are. Like again, no bad blood between us at all. And I want nothing more than for him to succeed. And if he feel, and I even told him, because he had that conversation with me, which I appreciate. I've always been one to say, first of all, you don't owe your coach any explanation on anything.
No.
If you want to leave, leave, other than just letting them know that you're leaving.
Yeah,
There's
please let
zero
them know.
explanation. And yeah, and I did not dive into the whys or, oh, was it me? Was it? No, he just said, hey, I think I'm going to go a different direction. I've had great success with you. I'm just going to try something different. I said, you know what? I respect that.
Yeah.
Have, I wish you nothing but the best, unless obviously you're going up against one of my guys. But I want you to succeed. But for the longest time, I was stuck in a mode of like, why? Like we had success. Why? And then I was like, you know what? I just got to let it go. Like he feels that he's going to get more out of working with this coach, and that's okay.
The
That's
problem,
okay.
the problem is, and this is what still bothers me about it, is I'm not a person that can let it go.
Yeah.
I had one guy who I still have great rapport with,
Hmm.
who did leave me at like 5 weeks out,
Hmm.
and maybe 6 weeks out. And again, he's my friend still, we talk nearly daily. And I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure it. I know that there were, life stresses and things going on, and he's dieting and he's 5 weeks out, and emotion and your thought processes are not wonderful at 5, 6 weeks out. No process is wonderful at that time period. Um, so I tried to have empathy towards that. Maybe that's part of it because we're dealing with bodybuilders, and bodybuilders are not normal people. We all know that. So I tried to convince myself, okay, maybe it's him, but you can't. I can't do that. I can't say it was someone else. It had to have been something I did, and there was no like true. explaining of what happened.
Mhm.
And and I never got to put him on stage and even prove myself that, like, hey, this is what we were working towards. And those last 6 weeks are precious time where, like, those are the money weeks, dude, you know? And like it still bothers me to this day that um it's hard for me to get over, like, where did I go wrong? I still want to know what I did wrong so I can learn from it and never let that happen again. Because
That's the saying. Yes, that's the killing part is like, is there something I could have done to not have it or to not repeat whatever it was doing that again? And that's I think that's one of those things. I think that shows signs of being a good coach because you're trying to figure out what can I implement to improve, and it's the not knowing that kills because I think not only as a competitor, but as a coach and a coach that actually cares and a good coach, we're always trying to do the best by our clients and we're always A/B
yeah,
test. Okay, this worked, this didn't. Drop this, start doing this. And that's for anything, whether it's diet, whether it's, anything. And I think that for people that are of that nature, where the goal is always raising the ceiling, when you don't know how to raise that ceiling, it eats at you. And
yeah.
that's why I say I don't think that's why I wanted to ask you this question because I don't think there's a right answer. I think everybody's answer
No.
is going to be different. And actually, for everybody watching this, I would love to hear your guys' answers as to if you switch coaches, and you don't have to name names or anything like that, but what has led you to go from one coach to another coach outside of just a flat out shitty experience? Like we all know
Mhm.
that if you're having a bad experience with a coach, like yes, jump ship. But if you had a good experience with a coach and you decided to move to another coach, like what was your thought process behind that? And that's really why I wanted to bring this up. I know we're coming up, and this is definitely something we could talk about a lot more, but I got to run soon to go grab my other son and then get meds for my sick one. Uh,
Yeah.
so we'll wrap it here, but we got a few things lined up. Like I said, I'm working on getting a couple of well-known former pros on with us, just lining up schedules. And then Ali, who is a functional nutritionist, is going to jump on, talk about um, gastric or digestional things, which is
Mhm.
going to be amazing. And then I know you're working on getting a few other people here, but for now, Tommy, let the people know how they can get a hold of you.
Yep. TommyJohnCoaching.com, Tommy John Coaching on Instagram, and then the ChaseIronsForum.com.
Absolutely. And then I'll put the link for the aminos for Tommy. For myself, don't forget, check out www.getgforce.net. I'll put a discount code down there. I believe it's 15% off for everybody that is a viewer. For coaching, whether it be training or men's physique posing, you can reach out to me at dgrogans39@gmail.com is the easiest way to do it. Or you can also reach out at nxtlevel-training.com. So that does it for another episode of Beyond the Bar. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.